Now for Global Business Updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Abati, and good morning, Ayo. Good morning to all our viewers. Bit of a rainy day today, so everyone try to stay dry.
Good morning to you and your umbrella.
Good morning. We're going to begin.
Don't worry, ditch the umbrella. It's good to report and be drenched. After all, Rishi Sunak the other day was drowned out by the rain. Drop the umbrella. Let's do this work.
Rishi Sunak is going to get rained out of office. We begin in Asia with Tokyo core inflation coming in just this morning. It was a bit of a mixed bag. So you had core Tokyo inflation, which is a benchmark for Japan, at 1.7% or 1.6, slowing from 1.7 in April, or rather in the prior month. However, you can see core went in the opposite direction. So basically, the Japanese authorities, the Bank of Japan, is looking for demand pull reasons to raise interest rates. They've been working on raising wages. They want to see a proper reason for them to be able to raise interest rates. So the information coming in with the inflation figures was a bit mixed. We go to Europe, where unemployment in the Eurozone area has fallen to a low not seen since 1999. Euro area unemployment coming in at 6.4%. In the prior month, it was 6.5%. For the wider Euro area, it basically remained flat. So unemployment still at a healthy clip to where authorities want to see it over in Europe. Over to the United States, you've talked about Donald Trump. Basically, on the business side, the Trump Media and Technology Group shares fell about 6% in after-hours trading yesterday, after that verdict on those 34 felony counts was delivered. So we'll see how the shares perform when the market officially opens. But based on that, we're expecting it to drop when the New York Stock Exchange opens. But it's interesting. The campaign website for donations for Trump actually crashed after the verdict was delivered. So it looks like Trump is going to be using this to raise a lot of money, as you both have already mentioned. And there will be a press conference from Trump Tower at about 11 a.m. Eastern this morning, where I think Trump is just going to use this for more, campaign fodder, basically saying that he's been persecuted. We go to Africa, and it's very interesting that South Africa, while they are still counting votes in their election, they had their monetary policy committee meeting yesterday, which was just a coincidence as the calendar worked out. So they basically, Lesotho Hanyego, the governor of the Reserve Bank of South Africa, they held rates, I think this is the 6th or 7th consecutive time now, at 8.25%. He says that they're going to keep things where they are until, of course, Dr. Abati was talking extensively yesterday about data-driven monetary policy. And so it's the same story with the Reserve Bank of South Africa. They're holding rates until the data tells them to do otherwise. To Nigeria, some oil and gas news making the rounds. NNPC in a signing ceremony with Mobil executives divesting its 100% interest in Mobil over to Seplat. That Seplat deal to purchase assets from Mobil has been in limbo for about 2 years. We understand President Tinubu did intervene there, and so with NNP, and of course this is around NNPC's right of refusal. So basically, this divestment of NNPC's interest in Mobil over to Seplat is a precursor to Mobil being allowed to approach the authorities to allow for them to get those assets. In fact, Seplat stock actually topped the NGX yesterday. It was up by about 10% on the news. So investors reacted warmly to this deal finally going through. And shout out to Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lokobori. Dr. Abati, you and I talked to him when we were in Davos earlier this year. Remember, he said that he had been working on trying to get this deal through. So, he did say it was going to happen. So between him and the president and the intervention of the government, that went through. So President Tinubu he received members of the Awera Consultative body in the Aso Villa yesterday. And while he was there, he talked about the ministers. There's a quote from the president saying basically that let me read the quote to you. He says, as long as we are together, and we have to be together, there is strength in our diversity. Our strength and opportunity are built into our population. I thank the cabinet members for their efforts, but I will relieve any of them of their duties anytime I feel they are failing Nigerians. So I guess, if he's basically saying that underperforming ministers will get the sack. Finally, Kimberly-Clark, which is the parent company of that makes sanitary pads for women, that makes diapers for kids. According to Nairametrics, they spoke to a source that says they are closing down their Ikorodu production facility, which was, what they put about $100 million into not too long ago. Now, they've been in operation in Nigeria since about 2012, but then about a few years later, they had to shut down. I think it was about 2019 because of the harsh business environment. They reopened again 2021, but unfortunately, according to the source speaking to Nairametrics, Kimberly-Clark has to shut down operations again. Erratic power supply, high inflation, so on and so forth. Wow. That is our updates for today.
All right, Rotus, thanks. I mean, for me, the biggest story is the Kimberly-Clark story with regards to a huge blow to this administration's source for foreign direct investment. And people have been saying, and some analysts have said, if you're going out to attract foreign investment and you're losing the ones already on ground, then we have a big problem on our hands. Like you mentioned, Kimberly-Clark is saying that the harsh condition for running a business is the reason why they are turning away, and this speaks a lot. It speaks volumes, obviously, because this is in isolation. We've had P&G exit, we've had GSK exit, and turn into an import-based business. And even though Kimberly-Clark is not even sure there would be an import-based business, that's how much they have been, traumatized by running businesses in Nigeria. We talk about bearing in cost. They talk about how they had to cut down their running hours, the shift hours, from 4 shifts to 2 shifts. They talk about how they've had to cut down working days from 7 days a week to not operating on, going to the factories on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then you look at what the implication of this would be, the number of jobs that would be lost, the cost of these very important sanitary and hygiene products in the market if they leave, stop producing in Nigeria. It's so unfortunate. It's sad that just about 2 years or how many years down the line, they do not think that business is good enough for Nigeria. On the positive side, I had to mention, because when we talk about gloom and doom, the truth is that investors are watching and they are measuring or, hedging the temperature of the business climate in Nigeria to see if it makes business sense to come in to put in their money here. Reckitt, they had their global CEO visit Nigeria over the last few days. He left, I think, yesterday. That is Chris Licht. And he met with the president, and he assured the president that they weren't going anywhere. So Reckitt is also a business that they're the ones who produce Dettol, Mortin, Harpic, and they've mentioned that they're still looking to invest in Nigeria, keep their investments here in Nigeria. Nigeria serves as the HQ for sub-Saharan markets with about 16 to 19 businesses on the African continent. And just to mention that whilst we have businesses divesting, there's still some businesses who are still saying we're still going to be here. We're going to stay here. We're going to do business here in Nigeria. And the onus is now on the government to ensure what we've been asking for again and again and again. Let provide an enabling business environment for not just these businesses, but also for businesses that are running in Nigeria, SMEs. We know we talk about the power situation all the time. We talk about security. We talk about the exchange rate. These things make running businesses hellish in Nigeria. Finally, I'll say this. With these companies divesting, there just might be a ray of hope in this dark tunnel. And this would be that Nigerians or indigenous companies in Nigeria take advantage of filling the gaps that this market will bring. It is now then up to the government to see this as an opportunity to plug into, despite how unfortunate and devastating this must be for businesses in Nigeria, for people in Nigeria, to then see how we can show up businesses, potentials to fill up this gap and have indigenous businesses run to produce this product. These are some of the things I said this morning, but really sad story there, but hopefully we can turn it into good.
Well, it's a much simpler story and fairly straightforward. Kimberly-Clark came to Nigeria 2 years ago. They invested about $100 million. They set up a facility in Ikorodu, and now 2 years later, they say they are leaving. because of high energy costs, because of issues with access to raw materials, because of low consumer demand. What do they produce in Kimberly-Clark? They produce sanitary pads. They produce Pampers. And even with Pampers and sanitary pads, there is low demand. That's what they are telling us. And now they are saying they are closing shop. Before them, PZ Cousins closed shop. Patterson Sokonis also closed shop. Lyft closed shop. Sanofi closed shop. The message is this. It's a challenge for the Tinubu administration, even at a time when we are all diverted, complaining about the national anthem, when there are more important issues about investment to worry about. The Tinubu administration has done well, trying to attract FDI, trying to secure pledges. Now, would those people also come and 2 years down the line also act like, Kimberly-Clark and other companies and say they are leaving because of the difficulty involved in doing business in Nigeria? So I see this as a challenge. On this occasion of the celebrations, anniversary, whatever you call it, for the Tinubu administration. The second issue. That one is a positive development, which is the resolution now of the Seplat ExxonMobil deal. In 2022, ExxonMobil decided to sell its stake, 40%, in OPL 68, 62, 70, 104. These are mining leases, onshore. And they decided, but there were issues raised by NNPCL, the national oil company, which says it has the right of first refusal. Second, there were also issues raised by the NUPRC, the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission, led by Mr. Gbenga Komolafe. And as a result of that, the matter was stalled. The matter came up again recently when Heineken Lokobiri, made that woolly statement about increasing production and all of that. The issue with the ExxonMobil assets is that those assets used to produce up to about 600,000 barrels, but that got reduced to maybe about 120,000. So at $80 per barrel, Heineken Lokobiri, Minister of State for Petroleum, said the country was losing about $38 billion. Now, congratulations to the NUPRC, to the NNPCL upstream, led by Balawunti, and all the other stakeholders, the ExxonMobil officials, who have been able to resolve this. Now, a deal has been agreed upon. What is the content of that deal? The last time we discussed this subject, I said maybe they should give NNPCL something, since they are claiming their right. They've given them two things. NNPCL now has an additional 10%. So rather than the 60-40, joint venture agreement, we now have 70-40 to the advantage of NNPCL. Now, Seplat has also agreed that in the future, in case NNPCL wants to bring a third participant or investor, they will not object to it. So that is where we are. However, the matter is not yet over. They have to take a proper accounting of the assets. They have to take a proper accounting of the liabilities. NUPRC is also saying that there are issues, community engagement, labor relations, technical capacity, viability, that all of these issues will have to be resolved before the deal can be finalized. But we have had significant progress in this regard. Final question, and I will pose it as follows. Why is it that everybody is leaving the onshore? The oil producing communities have said they are not the problem, right? Some other people say no, it's because of host community issues. But host communities say we don't have a problem with them as long as they follow the best standards that is available internationally. Now you find many of these oil companies, Total Energies has gone to Angola with $6 billion. Other companies have left. The only company that is still available onshore is Chevron. I will not be surprised if sometime later Down the line, Chevron also says it is living onshore. But Nigeria says, oh, we have the best assets offshore. These are issues that we have to look into. Because these IOCs, they have better capacity, better access to technology than these indigenous companies that we say we want to create the space for. How many indigenous companies have collected OMLs and they cannot do anything about it? The other day, Mr. Dele Alake was saying many of these mining licenses have had to be reviewed. The issue is about capacity. So Nigeria, being a destination for investment, seeking investment in the oil and gas environment, must look at the bigger picture, must look at the enabling environment, the same enabling environment that is driving away companies like Kimberly-Clark. Well, thank you very much, Rotus. I think those are the major issues in my view.
Well, thank you very much, Rotus, for your time this morning. See you at 11 for Global Business Report.